Hello, 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 everyone. We are live again from broadcasting from YouTube jail, Folsom Prison kind of thing. Anyway, my name is Dr. Garrett Smith. I am known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts, and we are very happy to be here today for our 200th episode. We are broadcasting, as you already know, if you're here from Beth Martin's YouTube channel, King Hero's Journey, because episode 198, our last Idaho episode with Kelsey, got us put into naughty word jail, and we said things that we apparently were not supposed to, and I edited the video and I took out extra stuff, and then they still knocked it down and gave me a strike. So I now have one strike, which will go away in 90 days, and I'm a very good boy when I have to be. As you guys know, we did that our last episode 199, which was super sensitive information, and I was able to pull that off. So I just gonna have to make sure I keep Kelsey knowing what she can say. And that one other thing that seems to be the issue, so you guys know, so you can help other people who are wondering why I'm going to have to talk in code. So there are things that we use in detox. Let me start that sentence over. Certain things out there oxidize things, right? There's oxidizing things. Well, we have to, if we are going to ever chat about these types of things, it is going to be very coded. Okay? So there will not be any of the magical 3-letter acronyms talking about certain things that do that. Apparently colloidal things are not okay either. I went through the party's re-education training. So I learned some of the things that we are not allowed to talk about in a positive sense. So there will be so some of you in the chat or watching this later will need to help others with what we are talking about. The 3 letters that shall not be named, things that rhyme with taurine trioxide or borine trioxide, things that rhyme with those. And yeah, so we're just going to have little code words. I won't use taurine trioxide. That's too confusing for people who don't get it. We'll just do borine trioxide. Yeah. So anyway, that's so 198. So if you guys want to see the episode 198, I will not be putting it back up on YouTube. It is on Rumble. So you can find it there. Our channel on Rumble, I believe, is, if you just look up Nutrition Detective, you'll find it. So yeah. So, first thing I wanted to go over. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So Joe was trying to teach me how to make it rumble.com/nutrition detective alone. I kind of tried to do it. Joe, it was being a pain in the butt. So we'll need to figure that out some other time. But yeah, all of the episodes are on Rumble as well. I like to try to stay here on YouTube because it just reaches more people. It's easier to reach people. You know, the searches that Google does are set up to find YouTube videos. So it's, you know, to bring new people here. That's why we want to be here. And so we do, and we're working on other avenues that are a bit more open-minded to health pursuits. So yeah, Joe's been looking into some of those things, and we'll get on that. So let's go into, I found this really interesting paper that I wanted to go into about vitiligo. Now, let me tell you guys something that I know from my experience in doing this stuff for, oh gosh, September will be coming up on 7 years of low vitamin A and me working with people on that. I've had people who were with me before I started the low vitamin A who are still with me, who are going along and getting better, and they got better when we started the low vitamin A stuff. So 2 conditions that are very slow to respond are seborrheic dermatitis, which actually has like yellow, scaly lesions. Like it's yellow and scaly. Like that's how much vitamin A is coming out in the skin. Okay. And vitiligo, where the skin doesn't have the right melanin content. It's not the right pigment. Okay. So we do not consent asked about, can I talk about turpentine? Turpentine is not, we don't use it. It does seem to push retinoids or vitamin A out of the area it goes to. But that doesn't mean it goes away. It's like the alcohol pushes vitamin A out of the liver, but it doesn't mean that the vitamin A leaves. That's the big mistake that some people have made, is they think that, like, one study showed that they said that the vitamin A in the liver went down, but then it went up in the blood. And they're like, oh, it's detoxing vitamin A. And I'm like, no, just so you know, people out there who think that higher levels of things like vitamin A and copper in the blood are proof of detoxing, they're very wrong. Okay. There's somebody out there who talks about their copper being high in their blood, like 155. Those of you who have worked with me, this person's copper was 155, and they think they're doing something wonderful about it. No, they've been sick for years and they're getting worse. So anyway, and copper goes up with aging, and copper is higher in cancer, and copper is higher in autoimmune diseases. Are these people detoxing when they're sick and they have higher copper than other people? No. So don't fool yourself. Like, just so you know, like if we're going along and we are freeing up copper and vitamin A out of the liver, it can go up a bit. But like when we take Kelsey's copper from 140 to 114 in 6 months, and she improves her POTS, and she improves her energy, and she improves all sorts of other, her hypermobility, and we see conditions improve as we bring the copper level down. And those of you who have worked with us, where we're bringing the hair copper down over time and we're bringing the blood copper down over time, and you're seeing your symptoms go away, you understand that bringing those levels down is what we want to do. Like, why would copper and vitamin A both go up with age if that was a good thing? Do people feel better as they age? No, they don't. Do people detox faster as they age? No, they don't. Some people out there, the subverters, you're going to start to notice who they are very intent on just making up stuff about why what we're doing is bad. So anyway, let's go into vitiligo. What was shown in a study about vitiligo? I think it was mice. Yes, here we go. Joe, you got the share going? There we are. Increase in retinol palmitate concentration in eyes and livers, and the concentration of interphotoreceptor retinoid binding protein in the eyes of vitiligo mutant mice. Okay. Let me just run through that title. Okay, retinol palmitate. Retinol palmitate is a retinol bound to a palmitic acid. A palmitic acid being a fatty acid, very high in, I believe, in coconut oil. Okay, but it is the most, in humans, retinol palmitate is something like 60%, maybe even 2/3 of the vitamin A retinol esters found in human livers. It's like 2/3 of what's found in your liver. Some people out there I saw, they tried to say, oh, retinol palmitate is totally synthetic and it's never found in the human body. And I'm like, hey, you're just totally wrong. They're just totally wrong. People with their vitamin A science are just sometimes beyond help. Okay. So you can also, where else could we store retinol esters? Fatty acids bound to retinol. This is how we store toxins, folks. We bind them to fatty acids. Fat soluble means fat. Storable means you bind it with fat and you store it. In the eyes, wow, they were storing more vitamin A in their eyes and in their livers. And they're going to say the concentration of interphotoreceptors. So this is light receptors, between light receptors, retinoid binding protein. What does retinoid binding protein do? It protects you from vitamin A. It's protecting the eyes in this case. Okay. We have lots of people whose eyesight gets better as we go. This is light. This would be related to things like night blindness. We have people fix their night vision doing this. Night blindness is not a vitamin A deficiency symptom. It is a vitamin A toxicity symptom. Retinoid binding protein, again, is to protect it. So we've got more vitamin A storage form and more vitamin A protection protein in the eyes of vitiligo mutant mice. So they made these mice, they messed with their genetics, so they get vitiligo. Okay. So first, remember, let's just hit on this real quick. Every time you find a study that is going to say that vitamin A, this is looking bad, whenever they're going to say it looks bad, they always have to start with the gaslighting at the start of the paper. Retinol esters play an important role in the visual cycle because they are involved in regeneration of 11-cis retinaldehyde, that's what it's short for use in rhodopsin formation. This is the argument that everybody uses about vitamin. They're like, you rhodopsin. Oh. And I go, okay, how are our people minimizing vitamin A intake and their eyesight is improving? Like, I don't care what people say about rhodopsin and the retinoic acid receptor and the retinoid X receptor. I don't care. If it doesn't work the way that they say it does, then they are wrong. I don't care what they found in their little petri dish. Okay? In the present study, retinol ester concentrations were significantly elevated in the eyes and livers of mice homozygous, so they had 2 copies of the gene for the vitiligo mutation. So they abbreviated it MIVIT. Vitiligo mice demonstrate, pay attention, I just want you to see this. They had higher vitamin A in their eyes and their livers. So what happens to their eyes? Vitiligo mice demonstrate a slowly progressing retinol, as in their retina, degeneration, characterized by gradual loss of photoreceptor cells, night vision, stuff like that, and rhodopsin, as well as uneven pigmentation of the retinal pigment epithelium. And again, this is not retinaldehyde, this is the retina itself. It's kind of funny how they named retina and retinaldehyde the same root word. It's almost like so they can confuse you and so they can make you think that retinaldehyde is necessary for vision. It's almost like you having to say the word vitamin before A every time. It's like a self-hypnosis, okay? Analysis of retinoids by HPLC indicated that the retinol palmitate level was increased 5-fold in the eyes of affected mice at 10 weeks postnatally. So they were born, 10 weeks after they were born, they had 5 times as much vitamin A in their eyes. And they were degenerating. And was 3-fold higher at 22 weeks of age. Oh, so it went down a little bit. Accumulation of retinol palmitate occurred in the retinol pigment epithelium rather than the neural retina. Okay. Furthermore, the concentration of all trans retinol was elevated in the RPE of vitiligo mice. Wow, so they had more retinol palmitate and all trans retinol, which I believe is just the normal form of retinol. They normally just say retinol, but I'm pretty sure that retinol means all trans retinol. Levels of interphotoreceptor retinoid binding protein to protect them, their body's making it to protect them, were increased in vitiligo mice between ages 4 and 14 weeks, but returned to normal by 16 weeks. So you see as the vitamin A here, it was 5 times at 10 weeks, and it was 3 times higher at 22 weeks, so it's going down. So if retinol binding protein was a protective protein, it would make sense that it would be highest, like, you remember 10 weeks? Highest around this part, but it would be going down as the vitamin A was going down because it's a protective protein. They're still degenerating their eyes. To examine possible systemic involvement in vitiligo mice. Gosh, you mean it's not just in the eyes? Retinoids were evaluated in the liver and plasma. You're going to like this. Mean or average liver total vitamin A levels in affected mice, so the ones that had vitiligo, were approximately 1.7 times higher than controls. Nearly twice as high. Analysis of esterified, the ones bound to fatty acids, and non-esterified retinoids in liver showed that the concentration of retinol palmitate was elevated. Plasma retinol levels were normal. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. This study provides the first evidence of altered systemic retinoid metabolism in vitiligo mice, which occurs significantly under normal dietary conditions. What did they do? They genetically changed the mice. They probably genetically affected their ability to detox vitamin A. And then these mice accumulated more vitamin A and they have diseases. You understand? So, folks, like, there's the whole, like, and believe me, I went on Jamie Andrews' podcast and the whole, like, he's kind of tearing apart genetics. And so let's understand something here. Where Jamie's getting into the very fine details of what they tell us they're analyzing in genetics, I want to think that he's right. I do believe that he is right. And they sell us a bad model. They always want to sell us a bad model. Now, can they mess with whatever they're doing to mess with these mice, the genetics of these mice? Can they mess them up so that they consistently have the same disease? Yes. Like, my daughter has, like, so when I talk, like, this is the thing about, like, where people say genetics doesn't exist or where they're saying vitamins don't exist. Well, Rodal gave animals, multiple types of animals, the same type of vitamin A, the same form of vitamin A and the same amount of vitamin A from food sources and from synthetic sources, and they got the same diseases. So whatever was in the food and whatever they isolated was the same stuff, and it was the same toxin, and it caused the same problem. So what I'm going to say is, like, so do vitamins exist? Do toxins exist? Yes. What we call them, like, so if they're trying to say vitamins don't exist because vitamins aren't something we need, well, I'm mostly on board with that. However, so when we get into genetics, the people saying genetics don't exist, I want to give it some more nuance because, like, my daughter got my body shape. Like, those of you who are parents and you see your children and they come up, you can tell that, like my daughter got more of my physical genetics and my son got more of my ex-wife's genetics. Like, you can see it. You can even tell in how they behave. So is genetics, like, the handing down of these patterns? Is that real? Yes. Okay. Does that mean that the science of genetics that they're selling you, like 23andMe and all that stuff, is real? That could be complete BS. That's what I'm saying. So, we do not consent. Ask where can we find the Jamie Andrews podcast? I don't remember. If you he would be easy to contact on Twitter. I could get it for you, but if you find Jamie Andrews on Twitter and you find the podcast, I that's the one. I was on it. It was a fun show. And he's big on the toxicity. He's big on the viruses don't exist. And so what I'm changing viruses don't exist to is virus diseases are toxicity. So what we call virus diseases, do the diseases exist? Do the conditions exist? Yes. Are they caused by this little semi-dead protein fragment hijacking our cells? No, that's a bunch of horse shit. So, oh yes, and Beth was saying after 8 months she can finally take charcoal and actually go better with and poops better with it now. So yeah, that's a big thing with charcoal. And then, and Beth was asking everybody to smash the like button to help thwart the mean algorithm. So anyway, I just wanted to hit on this study real quick about vitiligo. Like, so if, let's say, somebody has vitiligo, somebody close to me has vitiligo, and they've been working. I don't know how well they've been doing the program, but they've been doing it, and I think they still have some of it going on, but it's like one of the longest things to fix. It just is. And what if there is a genetic component to it, right? We're talking about a genetic thing here. Maybe people, just bad news, maybe people with vitiligo have a certain genetic detox deficiency where they're not clearing it very well, and so they have to work harder. Here's the thing about genetics in terms of your detox. You know how, okay, genetically, some people are born and they can run faster than other people, right? Some people are just born to run fast. and other people can't run that fast, or other people can run a long distance better than others. So this is like, you guys have all seen it. Like, anybody who denies genetics, like the actual phenotype is, silly. So let's just say some people have a slower genetic detox in one certain area. This happens with ALDH in Asians all the time. Like 50% of the Asian population is genetically slow in ALDH. That's the Asian flush or the Asian glow. Now, I've also known a Caucasian woman with an alcohol allergy too. She would flush and have all that stuff. So is it only Asians? No, it's not only Asians. But this genetic slow detox can manifest. And what does it mean? It would mean like, okay, so if you're slow at sprinting and you wanted to get better at sprinting, okay, what would you need to do? You'd probably have to practice sprinting, get some technique coaching, get stronger, like do things that help you to get better at sprinting. Does that mean you're going to be the best sprinter in the world ever? Probably not. Can you be better than you were? Yes. Okay. So that is that. If anybody knows where the Jamie Andrews podcast is, if you want to post it in the chat, that would be great. Oh, Joe, I had posted the link in there, but thank you for posting that also. So let me go look for some questions in the chat, and we will start hitting on that. Like I said, there's no super chats today. They just weren't set up for the channel, so we just don't have them. So I'm just going to head through the comments, and we don't have as many people on here as usual because it's not our normal place. So we will just head into it. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Will was saying, I'm coming to realize that I've not been producing bile for the last 3 years. What I thought was bile was actually no bile color in stools. What should I do to unlock the clogged dam? Will, we are actually, Kelsey and I are working on something just this week. We're testing it out to see if we can't move things along faster. Because if there are blockages in the bile ducts, or even, blockages in the little bile ducts of the liver or the big bile ducts, if we can get those to free up, obviously, I mean, cholestasis is one of the things that will cause cholestasis is blockages. So if we can somehow dissolve those blockages, I'm not a big fan of, people are going to say the liver and gallbladder flush. Y'all, if that's kind of a violent solution. If you want to call it like a violent solution, it is. You're trying to force your liver to like squeeze out so much bile at once that you're blowing out these things. I think Jojo or Zendog put up some links to Reddit where people did the liver gallbladder flush, and I have a whole episode on here about it, and they did not do so well after that. That's what happens when you try to force things or be violent with things or be aggressive with things. FAFO. If you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. And you may be, if you tried to push too much water pressure through pipes and the pipes burst, instead of blowing out the thing that you wanted to blow out, you got more problems now. So I'm just not a huge fan of doing violent things, because also that doesn't mean that the root cause of what caused it is gone. So let me hit on another one. So Will, I will let you know. We have multiple things in the pipes, but that we have something very specific that we're working on right now to see if it will happen. It may be, I don't know, 3 weeks to 2 months before we fully know, but once we know, then we will share it with everybody. Okay, so let's see. Let me see. I know Genevia had a super chat. Let's see. Just looking through it to see. Beth was saying she's watching YouTube remove views from her stream yesterday. Nice. There was a very interesting thing after my parasites episode. right after my parasites episode, I was having about 400 new subscribers a month. Right after the parasites episode, it just started dropping. Like it was like 380, 350, 320, 310, 300, 290, and it went down to like 280 a month. And I just watched it just drop. And then at some point, I think just last week, all of a sudden, the subscribers started creeping up again. It was like I got dinged or something. They were like, "You were naughty in the parasites episode, and so we're going to take away the algo is going to punish you, and we're going to make you suffer now for a while." Anyway, we just passed 11,500 viewers, so that's good. Even though we are being pressed against. So yeah, Joe just posted the parasites video. That's a good one. You guys should watch that one along with 199. People were really saying I'm kind of on a roll lately, and I don't know. I just kind of finally got enough of the research on these things to put it out. So let's see. Oh, Geneva. Okay, so here's your questions. I'd say it's one question, but it's several. Okay, so we have, hi doc, my brother has recently been diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, and it is affecting the movement of his eyelid. He has taken multiple pokies and is currently taking pharmaceuticals. Okay, so what do we know at the start here? It's not a good indicator of his openness and ability to do the stuff that we would want him to do to get better. I watched my ex. He was not the true ex father-in-law, but I think he was the second by he was a remarriage of my ex mother-in-law, and I watched him get myasthenia gravis, and it was not fun to watch. And this gentleman ate trash, just trash food all the time. And I the ex mother-in-law, when I was still married, she's asking me, what can we do? And I give her a couple of things to do, like minor things, and he wouldn't do them. He just wouldn't do it. He'd do it for a couple days, and then he'd be like, oh, okay. Some of these, okay, this can happen with men and women, but especially the older guys who are just like, I don't want to do this stuff, man. I don't want to do it. They say that they'll do whatever it takes, and then they're just like, I don't want to do it. My dad was that way. My dad did it for a while, and then he was just like, I'm so sick of doing all this. And I'm like, in my mind, it couldn't register because I was like, you have cancer. You better do it. And he just got more angry and just, I think he was still drinking while he was, going through all this stuff. And, there are consequences. So here's what I want to tell you guys about your family and your friends and other people you care about who you want to bring to this work. If someone was not willing to do things for their health in their normal life, a lot of people will kind of say that, oh, if I ever got sick, I'd do whatever it takes to get better. They can say that. Talk's cheap. But when it comes down to it, their patterns and their motivations and their discipline, I've been reminding myself of that, the Jocko Willink, discipline, not motivation. You don't wait for something to make you want to do something. You just do it. 5-4-3-2-1 technique by Mel Robbins. There's a book on that. Is a pretty good one. But it's really just, if you're like, I need to go do this, then you count down from 5-4-3-2-1, and then you get up and you do it. Like it actually kind of, I really like doing it. If there's something you want to do and you're just kind of like, I don't want to do it, just do the countdown and go do it. You'll feel better once you do it. So anyway, let's get back to this. Currently taking pharmaceuticals to control his symptoms. Since I'm already on the program and enjoying it, I would love to be able to give him good reasons for joining the program ASAP. Have you seen patients with this disease? Could you shed some light on how the Love Your Liver program can help him? Thanks. Okay. I mean, the hard thing here is that, okay, people who, this is a tendency. Now, some people, this is not everybody, But most people who want to go the pokies route and the pharmaceuticals route, this is the thing we must. Well, first of all, I'm going to put this in the Love Your Liver program, and I'm going to tell you guys about it right now. The book Let Them by Mel Robbins. I highly, highly, highly suggest that you listen to it on audiobook or you read the book and you go through it multiple times. This will, I actually believe it can absolutely change your life. Absolutely. It's about letting other people do or think what they're going to do, because you cannot change them. And the more you try to change them, the more they're going to resist. This is psychology. This is human psychology. The more you push on them, the more they will resist. And one of the biggest things you can do that I've always said on this thing is you be the example. If you are out there getting better and they're seeing you, actually, I think, I forget his name, Hit the Books on Twitter the other day. He said, it's absolutely unreal that like people around somebody who is getting better and doing all these things and watch, the other people are watching their conditions and disease and all that go away, and the person's getting healthier. And they literally do not ask that person, what are you doing? I would like to do that. He thought it's just absolutely unreal. So the first thing you want to do is be a model, be the leader, do it for yourself. There's the let them, which is let them do whatever they're going to do. You can't change them. It sucks. It's horrible. There's things in the book about helping to lead people towards what you would like them to do, but you're not pushing. And then there's the let me, which is you only have control over your stuff. So whatever they're going to do, you let them do it. This was a big part of helping me on the live streams of let them think whatever they want about me. I cannot change how people think of me. So I don't. And then it's going to be let me do what I do and help people with it. So that's what you're going to have to like the let them and the let me. That's a huge thing. It sounds super simplistic, but it's covered in multiple areas of people's lives in the book. I think it's just great. Have I seen people with this disease? I mean, okay, here's the thing about neurodegenerative diseases and things like cancer. Things where there's tons of toxicity. Tons. I don't know. See, the problem is the more progressive, the more progressed the disease is, the deeper the toxicity is, the thicker the toxicity is in their system. So they may actually have to go slower at the start. Those of you out there who are really toxic or really sensitive, about how slow you're going to have to go. Can you still get better? Yes. People who are generally taking jabs and taking pharmaceuticals are not the patient types. Generally, they want a quick fix. That's what they're after. The two things about going the conventional medical route that they offer on purpose. One, just take a pill. That's all you got to do. Just get the poke, take a pill. That's all you got to do. And the other thing it does that certain types of people like is it gives them someone to blame when it doesn't work. This is the huge part. People absolutely refuse to take responsibility for their own life and accountability, and they need someone to blame. They require someone to blame. They will figure out someone to blame when it doesn't work. So people who want an easy solution and they want someone to blame other than themselves, it's not a good setup for doing this work, because this work is all about personal responsibility. And it's not just a pill. It's actually like looking at what you eat and how it makes you feel. So, if he's already on multiple pharmaceuticals to control his symptoms, and unless he's at the end of his rope and he's ready to quit and like doing all that stuff and go over to this, I am not a motivational speaker. I am not a salesman. Everybody here knows that I'm the worst salesman around. I don't care if you buy my stuff. Some people are like, why are you giving all this away free on YouTube? I'm like, it's because I want to help people. if people want the community and all that stuff, that's what the Love Your Liver program is for. But I'm not here to, like, when people are like, can you convince my mom to do this? I'm like, no, that's not my, I have no energy to put into that. So I don't know that we've had anybody with myasthenia do the program. And then if people just don't want to, some people don't want to get better. It's too much work, or they kind of enjoy, in a weird way, they're stuck in feeling bad. It has become a part of them. And they're just like, I'm a victim and it's only going to get worse. And my doctor said, and they're not fighters. Most of the people in this program are fighters. And that's what this attracts. If people are not fighters, I mean, and so I'm not saying this is applicable to everybody out there. This is not just you, Genevia. This is everybody. It's sad. I mean, like when I watched my, I'm watching several family members who kind of sort of do a little bit of my stuff, but they just can't be bothered to really get into it. I'm watching them like not do great. I'm watching one of them getting the big, like, round, a man getting a big round belly and like liver stuff. I'm like, this is not good. Guy keeps saying, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start on this. I'm going to start on this. And then he tries things that I wouldn't even recommend. And I'm like, why did you do that? He's like, oh, I saw it on Instagram. These are my family members. If I could, if I knew how to do it for my family members, I mean, I'm here being the model, right? I'm here doing all this stuff, helping people. They know about it, and they still don't do what I suggest. The heart, as a physician, and obviously as a family member and a friend. Okay. I'm a moderator on Beth's YouTube channel now. Great. But watch it especially as a physician, like, why would I got into medicine to help who did I want to help first? Well, I got into it for selfish reasons. I want to help myself. I had health issues. It's just like a lot of therapists, right? They get into therapy because they're kind of messed up themselves. It's a pretty normal thing, right? But I got into it to help myself, and because I thought it would be, a fun profession. But mainly because I wanted to help myself. I wanted to learn stuff. Like, I only got this one body, right? I better know how it works and how to fix it. Kind of like a car. If you don't have a mechanic around, you better know how to fix it. So I did that. And then I found out that I was actually quite good at helping other people. I'd already kind of figured that out in personal training. Who do I want to help the most other than myself? My family, my loved ones, my friends. Who are the hardest people to convince to do what you want them to do? Your family, your loved ones, your friends, because it's a thing called proximity bias. We tend to not think the people around us are as good or as smart as somebody we see on the internet or on the TV or in the newspaper. We think that, well, I don't know much about them, so we give them more clout in our mind. There's a couple people in, a buddy of mine, we go out and he does all the stuff. He watches the live streams. I have several buddies who watch all this stuff, and, and they get help and they can ask me questions about it because we're hanging out. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to say when, let's say, some of these family members get sicker and sicker, and then they're like, what do I do now? And I'll be like, all the shite I've been telling you to do for the last 7 years. Just all that stuff. So anyway, I wish I could help more, but neurodegenerative stuff is going to be like the hardest. And I'm beginning to think that with some of these really, really sick people, we're going to have to slow them down more, like purposely slow them down, because they're just too toxic to have it all come out at once. And it's getting worse. Like, people are getting more and more toxic quicker. So I don't know. I wish we're talking about undoing typically like decades upon decades of people poisoning themselves. And then they get to this, oh shit moment where they're like, I better do something now because the Grim Reaper is coming. I don't know. With what we've got going on in the environment and all this other stuff, I don't know. I don't make guarantees. I don't make promises that I can't keep. So, and I don't control other people. So anyway, Dragonfly said, told a few friends about this program and they couldn't watch it or go with it as it was far too far from their doctor's views. We are the early adopters. We are still in the early adopter phase of this, although we are starting to move into the next phase where we get some more kind of like normies who see enough of it out there and they go, gosh, this must be working. I want to do it. And then they're like, they didn't really want it. Like the early adopter types, which is what I am. I guess some would say I'm an innovator, but those are the people who are willing to do it. They want the information. Early adopters want the information. This is why I put out so much information in the early part. I have marketing people all the time. They're like, you don't have to give out all the studies and you don't have to quote these things. You just say it. And I'm like, that's what liars do. They just say stuff without any backing. If I'm the leader of this whole thing, I have to back it up. And later on, we can say stuff because we have it all backed up. So anyway, but yeah, it's just too far for people. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, Beth added, she said, I've had a hell of a time getting truth influencers to consider this work. So sad for me. I don't even like, I was talking to Kelsey the other day about this. I was saying, like, when I meet somebody in person, like in my real life, IRL, when I meet people in real life, I don't talk about this stuff at all. I don't even talk about it. Unless they bring up something and they're like, well, what about this? And I go, yeah, I kind of, this is what you can do with your family and friends. You can kind of like throw out a little piece. Like, oh yeah, that might be related to like magnesium deficiency or copper toxicity or vitamin A toxicity or whatever. And then if it's too far out for them, then they'll just be like, oh, okay. And then they stop talking. But if they're like, wait, what is that? I haven't heard of that. Then you start reeling them in little by little. Remember, if they ask you questions about it, then they are wanting more. And if they just kind of bail, let you go do your thing. Let them not be interested. Okay, so Beth was saying, good advice, be a messenger, but mostly be an example. Yes, lead by example. That is what we are all trying to do. And it's sad that it's taking years for us to get out there, but we are really making dents on Twitter and other places. Twitter seems to be the early adopter central, so it will spread as we go. Okay. Oh, let me say something. Okay, I got to get into this about the zinc and niacin salve. Okay. Those of you who are listening and in the network or out on social media, I need for you to spread this word. I'm going to put it on the product page. I'm going to put it other places. Okay. The zinc and niacin salve. It is flush niacin. Let me repeat that again. It is flush niacin. It can cause a flush. So first of all, if you put it on your skin and you get some redness there, you're not having an allergic reaction. Your skin is not falling off. You're having a niacin flush. Okay, that's it. Now, let me tell you, we were not expecting, let me back up the story here. So when Kelsey used to sell the niacin salve, the zinc and niacin salve on her Etsy store, it was one of her most popular products. And most of the people who were coming to that store were from her niacin Telegram group. I think Niasource it is. I don't remember what it is, but anyway, they were coming there from there. So they were already taking flush niacin. Now, those of you who are taking flush niacin already orally, or if you're doing niacin enemas to fix your gut, which really work, if you're doing those or whatever, if you have niacin, flush niacin coming into your system regularly, you're not going to flush from the niacin salve. It's just not even going to happen. Okay. Now, For people who have never taken flush niacin orally, or they've never had any experience with flush niacin orally, and or they are quite toxic, and they go and put on a lot of zinc niacin salve, they're going to flush. Oh, Joe put up the niacin group from Kelsey. So what Kelsey didn't see people flushing from the zinc niacin salve from her Etsy store and in her niacin group because everybody was already on niacin. Well, now we're getting people who just kind of not the early adopters, but the next group where they're just buying the zinc niacin salve because they see me talk about it, and then they put it on. And let's say the person putting it on is super toxic and has never done any flush niacin before. So first of all, they don't know what a flush is. Secondly, they're super toxic. And we've got people, okay, and if the more you rub on your skin, the more likely you are to get the flush. Doesn't that make sense? It's dose dependent. So what we've had is a couple people. They've put it on, and the flush, the pinkness, the redness of their skin has stayed for a couple days. It's not an irritation. What's happening is some of you have heard me talk about how a sunburn is like an oxidation, the redness, and then the peeling is an oxidative detox process that the sun started in your skin, but it didn't finish. That redness is like the aldehydes, in my opinion, they're stuck there. So like if you put on the zinc and niacin salve, you could start the detox process, but you didn't give it enough gasoline to finish. Or like vitamin A toxicity, vitamin A turns into an aldehyde, right? So high dose vitamin A toxicity, like when guys would eat seal liver, or they'd eat polar bear liver, or some like deep sea Arctic fish liver. And then when they got vitamin A toxicity, they would turn red like a sunburn. The vitamin A got stuck, in my opinion, as retinaldehyde. So this redness of the flush is not enough flush niacin to run. Oh, well, I mean, the redness is the aldehyde stage. Okay. So what happens when people take oral niacin? Well, they typically get through it, right? You have the little flush, it comes and it goes. Actually, I might have still even been a little pink at the start of this episode from my niacin flush this morning. So the flush comes and it goes. But if you do this little, like, if you're totally niacin naive, as in you've never taken flush niacin before, and you're super toxic, and, we have people rubbing it all over their entire face or rubbing it all over their entire legs. And then they're wondering, well, I got a flush and it's still red like 2 days later. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. However, if you get that redness and it's sticking around, take some oral niacin. That will clear it up, just like it does with a normal flush. Like a normal flush, it comes and it goes within like an hour or two max. When you do the zinc niacin salve, if it kind of gets, it's like you have enough gasoline to kind of start the car, but you don't have enough to drive it through the flush. So I wouldn't use more niacin salve on it. I would use some oral niacin. Now, the other thing is we are not marketing the zinc niacin salve as sunscreen at all. We do not say it has SPF. We do not say it's a sunscreen. There are other zinc-based sunscreens out there. However, if people are trying to use the zinc niacin salve as a sunscreen and they're using that much, first of all, it's a little jar, folks. You're going to go through it super fast. And secondly, we're just not marketing it as that. So if you choose to do that, you're on your own. Okay? It is meant to be used for specific issues. It is not like the magnesium lotion. Okay? So, can you flush from the niacin, the zinc and flush niacin salve? Yes. If you're already taking flush niacin orally, you probably will never flush from the zinc niacin salve. If you are super toxic and you've never taken flush niacin orally before, it is quite possible you're going to flush. If you get reddish or pinkish and it sticks around for a couple of days, it's going to go away just like a sunburn would, or a vitamin A toxicity in the skin. Actually, you want to know the funny thing about vitamin A toxicity in the literature? The turning red lasted about a week. You know how long sunburns usually last, that red phase? About a week. Isn't that a weird coincidence? The niacin flush should not last that long. But if you want it to go away, you just got to clear it out, that stuck thing, and that's by doing some oral flush niacin. Okay? It's not an allergic reaction. Okay? It's just aldehydes getting stuck. And that's why so the funny thing is as people take niacin over time, flush niacin over time, and they do, and their doses start increasing, and many of you know this, you get to a point where you hardly flush at all, or you stop flushing. What does that mean? It means for that day, you don't have enough aldehydes stored in your skin that they show up as the flush. If you take a week off of flush niacin and then you do it again, you've accumulated some toxins in your skin as your liver's been, it's going around in your serum, it's going around in your blood, and some of it goes back into your fat and your skin, and then you can flush again. Remember, we're not chasing the flush, we're not avoiding the flush. But this is the zinc niacin salve thing. Just don't go and put like your family and friends on it without letting them know it is flush niacin. Don't not tell them, because, okay, so if they're going to get scared and not do it, oh, I don't want to flush. Like, oh my gosh, like, seriously. If they're scared of the flush, they may just be babies about anything. Being babies about anything in health is not going to get you anywhere. But then you don't want to not tell them. So I'm saying you want to tell them, because then when the flush happens, you don't want them driving to the ER and being like, oh my God, I'm having an allergic reaction. You don't want that. You really don't want to make it any worse. So if they're going to baby out, they're going to wuss out, it's better that they do that than you not tell them that it's flush niacin and that there is a flush. That's why it's called flush niacin. This is why almost nobody sells flush niacin, is because even when people know it flushes, they freak out and they wuss out and oh my gosh, I'm having an alert. No, you're not. Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Beth was saying people come here when nothing else works. Yeah, hopefully we'll make that better so they come here earlier than that. And Will was saying, I'm an innovator, you're not an early adopter, you're an origination point. I'm an early adopter. I used to be, I definitely was an early adopter before. And that's, many of you here are early adopters. And this is why so many of us got messed up, right? We got messed up because we would try all this crap. It's like people on Twitter putting out the stupidest threads about take mega doses of this, it'll change your life, and whatever. And early adopters are like, okay, cool, I'll try it. I'm an experimenter, I'll test it. And then they get effed up. Early adopters F themselves up. I did it myself. So, yeah, careful of being an early adopter. Okay. Oh, Steph said, I don't think I shared the Jamie Andrews link right, but it's on his Substack. Yeah. So if you look up Jamie Andrews on Substack, he has a good Substack. Yeah. So is Anthony Colpo. Follow Anthony Colpo's Substack. Anthony Colpo just did an article on tattoos. I have a whole big tattoo thread on Twitter too. So I thought that was kind of cool. Learning Time was saying it's wild how much people hate on Garrett. It's wild when I bring up vitamin A toxicity, they go insane defending the system. LOL. Yeah, I just kind of avoid all that. I'm not going to go argue with them. They can hate on me all they want. As Martin Ehrlich was talking about on Twitter, he's saying more and more of the influencers out there, as they're getting sicker and sicker, are breaking down and starting to realize that a lot of the topics that we put out there are correct. And they're kind of dipping their toes in the water of saying, oh, well, you need this and don't do this. And they're just barely touching the surface because they have investments to protect, right? It's like a certain YouTuber who was a big carnivore guy who went low vitamin A and was pushing low vitamin A Grant Genereux style, yet he was still selling organ supplements to people. That's ethical. Anyway, let's see. Let's keep going. Oh, Beth was asking, does anyone know if Kelsey got removed from Twitter? She did not get removed from Twitter. She was just done with Twitter. Twitter is a horribly negative place. And she just realized that it was not good for her, that it was not benefiting her. And I didn't want her to, like, she just nuked her account. She just did it. She came and she told me later, she's like, okay, we were kind of talking. I was like, maybe you should spend less time on Twitter because it brings out the negativity. It brings out the negativity in you. And she was like, yeah, you're kind of right. And then all of a sudden she comes back and she's like, it's done. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? And she's like, I said, did you nuke your channel? And she said, yeah. And I was like, I didn't mean you had to do. I mean, I didn't tell her not to. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Now I can't send her tweet links because, you got to be on Twitter to get links. And I find funny stuff, it's like people sending Instagram reels. I'll send her funny tweets. And now I can't do that. That sucks. So, but anyway, it was better for her to do that. Folks, realize how poisonous social media is for you. And I was this is one thing I do on Twitter. Like, I think I only see replies from friends and friends of friends. So there's a ton of people. So for those of you who might be seeing people on Twitter just hating on me and I just, there's no response from me, I don't even see it. I don't need that negativity in my life. So I just don't even look at it. Like, there's tons of people trying to, retweet and quote tweet me and this guy's so stupid or whatever. And I just go, okay, cool. Go ahead and do that. Let them. And then they bring people to this through the Streisand effect. They're like, definitely don't do this. And then people are like, wait, why? Let me go look into it. And then they come around. So anyway, it's cool. She was not removed though. Yeah. She nuked her channel herself on Twitter. Yeah. I miss her. Okay. Oh, and Zendog was thanking Beth for helping host this. Yes. Everybody, please thank Beth. Follow her channel, follow her on Twitter. Like, we did, if you didn't see our my guest episodes on her channel, you might want to go watch those. I think we did 2, right? Anyway. Beth, you were wondering, it's your second guest. LOL. It was your one reliable place to reach her. Actually, Beth, she is on Telegram. That's her main, that's where we chat. So yeah, if you're on Telegram, I can hook you guys up. Okay. So Fernando Espin was saying, I rubbed the salve, the zinc niacin salve on the gonads to raise testosterone. Could this lead to issues? I don't think so. I don't think it'll lead to issues. And so for those of you who, so here's something else. For those of you who are very sensitive to zinc, I don't want to get into the whole first pass, second pass metabolism, but doing it topically may reduce your reactions, your negative responses to zinc, because it doesn't hit the liver first. It hits the liver after it's already been in the bloodstream, and other tissues can absorb it as opposed to it hitting the liver first. So I don't think there's any issue with testicular application. I have not, I'll just be honest, I haven't done that yet. And now I'm kind of going, Because I mean, this is what just popped into my mind. Some of you remember in the past, well, this is kind of like my generation. It was back when like Mark McGuire and the steroid scandal with the home runs and all that stuff. There was a supplement out there called ZMA, zinc magnesium aspartate. And some of the big studies on it where they had like college athletes where they gave them some ZMA pills and their testosterone went up. And I was like, well, they're college athletes, right? So they're going to tend towards high testosterone anyway. And Beth's posting the links to our podcast together. but they're going to be deficient, right? I mean, everybody, how many people, hold on, let's sneeze. Oh, got that big tickle. Okay, let's see if we can't get rid of it. Okay, so ZMA, well, I mean, those of you who have worked with me or my facilitators, you know that everybody's deficient in zinc and magnesium. So, and we are getting the, oh my gosh, good texture on Twitter. Matthew, he posted the other day, his total testosterone in his blood was 978, which was higher than mine was back when I did that video. So yeah, we're just getting guys' testosterones like into the 900s all the time. So if you, so that was before the zinc niacin salve. Anyway, so ZMA, they gave it to college athletes. I think they were football players, and their testosterone went up. Okay, cool, great. Like they were zinc deficient. The magnesium probably helped a little bit, and it helped. So the thing I just thought of, I was like, well, okay, so it just popped in my head. I went zinc and magnesium. I went, oh, maybe a little zinc salve and some magnesium lotion. Put a little ZMA topically down there. That seems like a potential good idea. Yeah. The only thing you got to know is, guys, if you put things, oily things, or generally just things on your testicles, especially at night before you go to bed, you're going to tend to get very sweaty down there. And that's just what happens. So just know, topicals tend to make you very sweaty at night. So, Beth saying TMI. No, it's not TMI. Like, okay, so I just told you, don't hide stuff like about the zinc niacin salve from people, because then they do it and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't tell me that would happen. Well, I'm just telling guys, like, if there's nothing wrong, it's just, if it's sweaty, you know? So, yeah, the other thing, guys, that you can do to help your testosterone in theory is to, first of all, if you're going to wear underwear, make sure they're cotton. So first of all, you're trying to not wear polyester and spandex and all that stuff on your man parts, and ladies too. So you want to wear cotton or linen or wool, especially on your private parts. Okay. Cotton or linen or wool. So if you're going to wear boxers, you're going to wear boxer briefs, you're going to wear briefs, cotton. Then if you're going to wear other shorts, like workout shorts or other things on top of it, you know, it may not be great, but at least it's not touching your junk. I'm not supposed to. I tried to make a promise to not call it junk, right? You don't want to speak of your own parts like they're bad, right? So anyway, so on your genitals, and then try to get cotton shoes or socks. I mean, so if you're going to wear shoes that are made of stuff that maybe shouldn't be on your skin, well, at least put cotton socks in between them, or wool socks. I like, there's a brand called, what is it? Tough. It's, Darn Tough socks. Like, I love this company. I have multiple socks from them. Basically the socks are pricey, but they're wool. And when you buy one pair, if you ever get a hole in it, if it ever has a problem, like you wear through the socks, it took you 10 years to wear through the socks, you mail it back to them and they mail you a new pair. So basically, that pair of socks that you bought, you will always have a pair of socks forever from them. I love that company. So I got wool socks, and when I, cotton underwear. Then if you're going to wear, guys, the best thing for your testosterone and your sperm count would be to not wear underwear and wear cotton or linen or wool shorts or pants. So everything's free. I didn't know that testosterone levels did actually respond in the same way that sperm counts do. So, especially now that it's getting in the summer, if you live in hot areas, yeah, you want them to be able to cool off as they do. So, oh, Will saying he can confirm with magnesium the sweaty effect. yeah. So then, let's see. Will said low vitamin A nude beach trip win LMAO. I've been getting lots of sun lately. I started doing, well, I just want to tell you guys this flow rope. I'm going to say it again. Flow rope, or you might look into RMT. I don't know what the RMT stands for. If anybody does, that's David Weck's rope something, but it's like, it's doing rope. Like you have a rope and you think of like jump rope, but you're not necessarily jumping it. You're doing the rope all sorts of crazy ways. Like just go and watch flow rope, or the guy on YouTube named Nasima, Nsima, and watch some of his flow rope stuff. It's crazy. He's like super advanced. I'm taking an 8-week like intro course from Tim's gym, and man, it's fun when you start getting into it. You're like, wow, this is really cool. And I'm doing it like every morning when I wake up. I really like it when I wake up because it's not a lot of strain on my spine. You know, like when I wake up, I kind of want to wake up. And so if you're doing arm stuff mainly, it's not as spine heavy. And so I feel like it's kind of almost like a warm up for then my jog or my walk, run, backwards walking, weighted vest walking, all that stuff later. So I've been getting lots of sun on purpose, you know, and see, I don't know if you can see, I got like my tan line from my heart rate and step counter watch. And just if you guys didn't know, the Vivo Fit, I think it's called the Vivo Fit. This one, it is the only heart rate step counter watch that I know of, or the Garmin Vivo Fit or Vivo Fit 2, that you can turn off the Bluetooth. I never turn on the Bluetooth, but you can turn off the Bluetooth on it. And I like it because I've been trying to, you know, get my 10,000 steps a day. Yesterday, I think I had 15,000, and because the rope actually triggers it as steps. So it's kind of cool. So it may be cheating, but whatever. I'm still moving my feet when I'm doing the rope. But yeah, I totally recommend the flow rope stuff. I think it can fix a lot of your shoulder stuff. It helps with your spine. It's just great. So yeah, but still, you guys who are detoxing vitamin A a lot, if you're pretty far along, you're not going to get very much of a tan, because a tan is kind of evidence of vitamin A in your skin. So as you get better, as you get less toxic, you will tan less. You will definitely not burn as much or at all, and you will tan less. So, okay. Did anyone else post any other questions that, oh, my hair? Okay. We get to talk about this then. Oh, thanks for noticing. Oh my gosh. No. Okay. So some of you, it is growing. I actually, I went to a barber for the first time in 20 something years. Probably since I was like 20. I think I was about 20 when the last time I went to a barber was. So we're talking 29 years now. We're talking almost 30 years. So Kelsey was kind of rooting for me to Kelsey keeps looking at my hair, and my kids keep looking at my hair, and they're like, Dad, it's coming in. It's working. What I'm doing, I have like a multi-pronged approach to restoring hair that fits into the Love Your Liver guidelines. Like it fits with the principles. So anyway, so I went to a barber, I think on Saturday, and I'm trying to get him to, the thing, this is what Kelsey said, and this is what the barber said. They're like, it's blonde right here. My hair is like brown, and it's blonde right in the middle. So it's going to not look great because I have hair everywhere. It's just blonde up here. And that's why there were people try to say that I like don't have eyebrows. No, it's just really blonde. Like, so when you see, I have hairs all the way out to here that are blonde, and this is blonde. So it just doesn't look like it. So all the like Pete haters are like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, okay. Kelsey would get upset because she's like, no, there's hair there. It's just blonde. And so my barber was like, yeah, it's blonde. So we're trying to let it grow out a little more on top. And so that was my first, I think it was about 2.5 weeks of growth in here. So it's coming. It's coming. And Kelsey was excited for me to grow it out. So I was like, okay, I'll do it for you. Yeah, but it is coming in. I can tell. It's not all the way in. And this for those of you who want to work. I mean, first of all, I've said this before, but the guy who I got a lot of the approaches from in the hair regrowth stuff, we talked on Twitter, and he was kind of like, dude, at your age, you might be cooked. Like it may not happen. He's like, you can work hard on it, but it may just not happen. So I've been working hard on it. And obviously we got the diet going that other people don't do. And it's been coming in slowly. The nice thing about what this approach does is once the hair comes back, it shouldn't go away again because we've fixed the root cause of why the hair was thinning. So anyway, Will was saying offloading bile itself can restore some hair. Yeah, there's if people who have, so that's the crazy thing. Like when you read on the internet and guys will be like, I started taking zinc and my hair came back, or like my hair loss stopped, or whatever. So that's the thing that's so confusing about hair regrowth is if you're a guy and you find some approach on the internet and you do it and you nail one of the reasons why your hair was thinning or you were losing it, it can change rapidly. But is that every person's problem? No. That's why you'll have tons of people who are like, I tried this, it didn't work. Another guy is like, I tried this, look at my hair, and they're taking pictures, and it's again, like what we say here is you got to experiment, you got to try these different things. And so what we're going to be doing, I will get to that question. So anyway, yeah, so we're hitting it from multiple angles. And we're working on multiple theories of hair loss, which all fit together within the toxic bile paradigm. I have to review some videos that we are thinking of using on there, and I'll probably film some videos, and then we'll have a separate hair restoration program for those who want to do it. That will totally align with everything we're already doing. So, okay. Jackie K is saying, I'm disappointed that I piled on half a stone and bloated, clothes uncomfortable after adding a small amount of rice and beans, gluten intolerant, and wondering if it's the lectins. This is an important thing. Some people, especially at the start, don't tolerate grains or beans. Doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. This is the lesson I have to say over and over and over, especially when people come from like carnivore or like keto, or they're super low carb, or they're diabetic. Here's the important thing to understand, Jackie, and everybody else out there. Just because you go on a low vitamin A diet doesn't mean everything is fixed. Okay? If you have trouble with starches, and I'm talking like the royal we, I'm talking about if people have trouble with starches or sugars. Just because we talk about grains and beans and stuff like that doesn't mean you can just add them as much as you want. You may have to go slow. This is a key thing to remember. We've had people come to us who are all muscle meat carnivores. And they're like, I can't eat anything other than muscle meat. I can't do any supplements. I can't do any fiber. It all messes me up. Like, I want you to think about that. How much is the muscle meat carnivore messing people up, their gut biome and all that stuff, that they can't eat anything else? They've turned themselves completely intolerant of all their foods. They can't do fiber. They can't do anything other than meat. That's pretty messed up. Like they have become so, and I'm not blaming them. No one tells them this when they start the carnivore diet, but all of a sudden they've lost all resilience. They have no more dietary resilience at all. Now, I'm not saying that people should be able to eat, people can eat whatever they want. How much it affects them. Like, you don't want to be the person, you guys have all known this, or like, let's say this was your dad or whatever, where they're like, well, I eat whatever the hell I want, and I don't ever feel any different. What does that mean? Well, probably means your detox sucks. Like, here's the funny thing is you get more toxic and your detox sucks. Some people, since their detox slows down and they don't have these detox reactions, and then they feel even less because it all just gets stored and stuck. Some people get more sensitive. But so the big thing is, like, we have people who have diabetes who come on the program and they're like eating tons of carbs, and all of a sudden they're like, why is my blood sugar going bonkers? You're not fixed yet. You are not fixed yet. And this is not just you, Jackie K. This is like, I'm saying this for everybody. We have to, the toxicity is the problem. You changing your diet doesn't fix the toxicity. Okay? Fixing your diet, changing your diet does not fix the toxicity in like a week or a month. You're looking at a year or 2 or 3. So you have to do it over time. So I'm back to that all muscle meat carnivore guy. Or if you're out there and you're an all muscle meat carnivore guy person, and you're going, I'm getting some issues and I'm not pooping and I'm just not, it's not working out as well as I hoped. And then you start seeing on Twitter, all these carnivores, the strict carnivores are eventually adding plant foods and carbs back in. So we had that, like, what could an all muscle meat carnivore person do? Well, if they can't tolerate fiber, they could do, if they're pooping okay, they could do charcoal. And we've had all muscle meat carnivores who do just muscle meat and charcoal, and then over time they start tolerating things again because they're finally crapping out that toxic bile. Charcoal's binding that toxic bile, they're crapping it out. They start getting better. They start gaining tolerance to more foods. Does that mean they can just go and introduce like 6 bananas a day? Probably not. Your body gets better at what you do with it. So if you never put any carbs in it, or there's use it or lose it, you never put any carbs in it, your ability to tolerate carbs is not going to be great. So I'm going to say, Jackie K, that you just need to back off. Let me tell you this. If I eat beans too many times in a week, I start to feel bloated. Okay, so I just don't eat beans that many times in a week. If I start to have, if I were to have too much fiber in general, I can get bloated. And I talk about this in the program. Like, there is a distinct amount of, and if you've only added a small bit, I'm going to suggest that you go back to the order of adding things. Go back to the order of adding things. And start with, like, because your gut biome, if you help with, whether it's you're a woman, I would start with lactobacillus. I know I have all the questions in there, but I would just, if you're a woman, I would start with lactobacillus before you try bifido. Even if you've been a low carb carnivore keto person. Yeah. Oh yeah. You were two years carnivore due to kidney stones. Yeah. So if you've done that, then we just fixing the gut biome. Even if it's sun fiber, you can do a pinch of sun fiber. I think somebody was asking me about sun fiber. I think I need to get to that question too. But fiber, folks, it's helpful for most. Some people have to walk it in very slowly. Okay. So just that, the key thing that I just want to, and this is Jackie K. This is a quote unquote mistake that so many people make. They're just so excited to do this, which is great. I'm so glad that people are excited, but they're just like, this is the diet that fixes everything. And then they think that they can, I'm sitting there constantly going, you got to watch out for too much fiber. It can cause you issues. You got to go slow. You got to, pump the brakes. And people are just like, they get excited and they want to do it and they want to be better sooner rather than later. And they just jump in and then they kind of go, wait, this isn't working. There's also the idea that, well, okay, so carnivore, if you've heard me talk about the enterohepatic circulation, so the bile is coming out of the liver, it's going into the guts, it's getting reabsorbed because there's no fiber or anything to bind it, and it's going right back into the liver. And so it's like this closed loop. So you can, with carnivore, you can tend to leak less bile into the system, and people feel better. They're doing less vitamin A, they're doing less copper, they're doing all these less toxins. Like an all muscle meat diet is pretty much the lowest toxin diet somebody could do. Okay. So they're on a super low toxin diet. The problem is they have this, the bile is not escaping. The bile is just constantly getting reabsorbed. And so any toxicity that you had before this is not leaving either. Does that make sense? So when you do, let's say you start adding carbs or fiber or whatever, and it's going to go in, it's going to shift your gut biome. It's just going to cause, you're going to start getting a shift in the bile acids, and you can start getting, I think maybe some of those toxins that were in your liver can start redistributing into body fat. So your body's like, man, dude, the liver is so overloaded. Think about the body being intelligent. You're kind of breaking out of the carnivore like stuckness, and you start eating other things, and your body goes, oh my gosh, like we can start moving some of these toxins out, and they do get into the blood. And then your body goes, we could move them to the fat. Like, think about it. Your body is intelligent. Too many toxins in your liver is going to ruin your liver. But you couldn't get the toxins out of that loop. And then they start going, and then potentially they could store in the body fat as your body's trying to offload the liver to put the toxins somewhere else. It could just be a trouble with tolerating carbs. But either way, the simple thing is we look at the results and we go, doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. And just go back, and you may not be ready to add them. So, okay. Oh, Tammy was saying about the sun fiber there. She had asked the question. She said, I've been doing sun fiber for almost 6 months, but I might need to back off a bit for a while. A lot is changing with my health. Yeah. Sun fiber. I mean, it's somebody got kind of I don't know if this was you, Tammy, but, somebody got upset because they got the sun fiber and they just tried a scoop, and they tried a whole scoop and they didn't feel good. And I was kind of like, well, we give a link to detailed instructions on how to go up slowly on the package, and it's on the product page too. She was like, well, why don't you just have all the instructions on the label? It's like 2 pages worth of instructions. This is why so many people like have trouble with supplements, is because you can't. Yeah, there's the link, nutritiondetective.com/sunfiber. And it talks about going up slow, and just know that there's a certain amount of fiber that helps, and then you can go over that. And you may get along really well with bean fiber, but not with oat fiber. And somebody may get along really well. We have a lot of people who get along really well with apple pectin, apple fiber. And then they don't get along with other things. So just you have to look at what you get along with. I get along well at this point. As you do the detox longer and your biome gets better and your bile gets less toxic, you will likely be able to tolerate more fibers and different fibers. Then you'll tolerate more of them, and then you can also often do more. So you'll tolerate more types and more amounts. I used to really get I used to definitely get bloated with fibers if I had too much, because there was a time earlier in the years, maybe about 3 years in, where I think I was doing 60 grams of soluble fiber a day. So that's not including insoluble. I was doing like 3 tablespoons of psyllium a day, and I was doing a can of beans a day, and I was doing a cup of overnight oats in the morning, and it was like it was a crap load of fiber to be, to make a joke. And I was kind of bloaty all the time. And then I remembered what Karen Hurd had said, where I think she said about 30 grams of soluble fiber. I remember reading something she wrote in, I think, one of her courses. And she said 30 grams of soluble fiber a day is about as high as you need to go. And I was kind of like, 60 was too much. And I went down to 30, and I was like, oh, this is much better. So you can overdo anything. The more toxic you are, and the more restricted your diet had been before, like, you may have to start bringing ththings back in slow. That's all. It's just figuring it out. And yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's the lectins. 2 years carnivore due to kidney stones. So if you got kidney stones, if you want to look into things like potassium citrate, the citric acid can help dissolve some of the kidney stones. For those of you out there who are concerned about vitamin C, have the juice of a lemon a day. That's not a big deal. Like mix it into your water or whatever. That's fine. If you're concerned about that, have the juice of a lemon a day, and then you don't have any worries anymore at all. Okay? Do you need to do that? No. If you want to do it, can you? Yeah. Or if you want to do a lime, fine. Okay, so Jackie K was also saying the loss of resilience did bother me too, and your work made sense to me. Thank you. We try to. She says I'm hypothyroid too, so must be toxic. Yeah, that will come over time. So okay, I'm just gonna show you guys what I've said before, and especially in the celiac episode. If you want to go watch the celiac episode, hypothyroid, especially autoimmune thyroid, and there's people out there in the medical literature that are saying all hypothyroid is autoimmune. There's people out there saying it. Am I saying that? I don't. Is all thyroid issues combination of toxicities and deficiencies? Yes. Does that lead to autoimmunity? Yes. Is autoimmunity just really a toxicity and deficiency state? Yes. So, but I'll never forget this, and I've said this a bunch of times. I got a packet when I first started in my practice. Somebody brought me a packet from I don't know if it was the Southern Arizona Celiac Association or something like that. And I was reading through that packet, and in the packet it said autoimmune thyroid conditions like Graves and Hashimoto's are considered sister diseases to celiac. I thought that was pretty important. So what I'm saying is that, so you're mentioning you have hypothyroid, and you were mentioning that you were gluten intolerant. What an interesting pattern to have. And just proving again that it's probably the same toxicities that are involved in both. Same toxicity, same deficiencies. So you may want to watch the celiac episode if you haven't already. And just, you may have to, we've helped multiple people fix both suspected gluten intolerance or suspected celiac and people who actually were outright diagnosed with it. So it can be done, but it takes a while. Everybody, you just got to be, this is not quick. This is not quick and easy work. That's like what I was saying earlier. Like it's not for people who don't have the patience. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So, okay. She said, thanks so much, Doc. Really appreciate your response. You are very welcome. And you said, yes, I was desperate and went carnivore as passing kidney stones as hell. I've heard it. I watched my dad pass a kidney stone when we were on a trip to Europe. I think I was about 20. And I've never seen my dad so like irritable and angry as when he passed a kidney stone. So, but yeah, that just fix the diet, and whether if charcoal or whatever binders work, or sun fiber. Sun fiber is a little less gummy, which means it doesn't adsorb bile as much, but it also mixes in easier. So just try like a pinch. Like you could do a pinch of psyllium or a pinch of sun fiber, or if you tolerate apples, you could do apples. Apples really work well as a fiber for a lot of people. But some people, if they have sugar stuff, you might be doing something, Jackie, like if you had kidney stones, you could be doing like lemon juice just to get some citric acid in there, and then working on something as a binder, whether it's charcoal or whether it's, a pinch of sun fiber or a pinch of psyllium. And then you're just trying to slowly go up. That's the thing about like weight, folks, is that we have plenty of fibers that don't have calories, right? They don't have they don't have like active carbs in them, if you want to call it that, where you can do like psyllium or sun fiber or apple pectin capsules. You can do these, and then they don't add, you're getting the fiber, but you're not adding the starch or the sugar calories, or the starch or the sugar grams that you don't tolerate yet. So, where did Anna say the, wow, Anna, she was saying she flushed on the niacin salve. Using it shortly after eating a protein-rich meal helps. Yes, we've always talked about that, right? Protein helps reduce the flush. She detoxes heavily through her skin, so the flush wasn't a surprise. Just got to go gently. Yes. So Anna, had the flush. And I think as she was actually, I talked to Kelsey about, we were talking, you were a subject of conversation, Anna, between Kelsey and I, and Kelsey was telling me that you were at her office hours, which is the support we give people who are working with our facilitators. And she was saying that you flushed, and that you were still, you were okay with it, and that you've been making progress using the zinc and niacin salve. Is that correct in what I'm saying? And Zen Dog asked, did she flush on the spot where she applied it or everywhere? And she replied, the flush started on the spot I applied it and then spread up to my jaws/ears within 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, so it'll spread, but then if you're able to, Anna, if you're able to, I was hearing that, and I'm just going to say it, that you're pretty sensitive to things, that you're quite sensitive to things. And so that we deal with the most sensitive people. This is one of the things we specialize in. This is why people, when they come here, they like it, because we actually go, well, if you can't take that, then don't take it. Whereas let's say they were going to other practitioners, and I've heard people get fired from other practitioners because the practitioner was like, you need to take this supplement. And the person's like, I tried it. It made me feel like awful. It was horrible. And they're like, well, try this one. And they try that, and I can't take that. Try this one. Can't take that. And they always give them the full dose, right? They never shrink the dose. There's like, this is the protocol. And then the person's like, I can't take these things. And then their practitioner will be like, well, I can't help you then. You're gonna have to go find somebody different. Had multiple people tell me this. We don't do that. Like, if you don't tolerate something, I mean, we have people who, like I'm saying right now, if you're really toxic and really sensitive at the start, if you listen to your body and you try to do the principles and concepts and stay in the framework that we do, and you give it time, everybody's out there trying to say that we have to make this go faster. And it seems like, I think everybody who tries to make this go faster is going to kick their own ass. And they learn the lesson the hard way, that like, this is not something that you can just push the accelerator or hit the turbo boost button on. At least the thing I'm working on that I mentioned about with Will, that may accelerate things. But where was I? Anyway, the sensitive people, we just say, like, if you can't take something, don't take it yet. Like, you may not tolerate it yet, or you may need a smaller dose, or we maybe just try it later when you're less toxic. That's it. It's there's no judgment. You're not a bad person or a weak person because you can't take something. And even with the niacin flush, if somebody's like, I just can't take the niacin, I just can't handle the flush. Well, okay. There's two things that may be going on. One, we could just say, okay, maybe you could try a little zinc niacin salve on your skin, just a little bit, and see if you tolerate it, just a little bit. If they're like, I can't do that, then we go, okay, we don't do it for now. Do you know that when Kelsey first came across my work, this is what she's told me multiple times. She saw what I was doing and how I was helping people. And she said to herself, he's helping to fix pellagra, like straight niacin deficiency symptoms. She said, I was helping to fix that. So the program, this is how we get people better. You can't take a supplement. We do the detoxing. You don't need as many nutrients because you're less toxic. So that's what she was seeing, is we were fixing a nutrient deficiency by making people less toxic. So that's toxins you don't put in don't have to be detoxed. What's one of the biggest things we talk about flush niacin helping with? Aldehyde dehydrogenase. What if we eat a lot less aldehydes? Then we don't need to use up as much flush niacin to run aldehyde dehydrogenase, so we can use it other places and we can help other symptoms. So this is why we do both. We try to restore the nutrients, but if you don't tolerate restoring the nutrients yet, we avoid the toxicity and we facilitate the removal of toxicity, which then makes you need less nutrients and you get less toxic. And then eventually you can add the nutrients. Oh, the nutrients are over here, right? You can add the nutrients because now you're less toxic and you don't have as big of a response. So anyway, that's what we got on that. So you're doing a good job, Anna. I just wanted to tell everybody about the zinc and niacin salve. Like, you could get a flush. You could. You're not going to die. Okay. Oh, Zendog was saying, he was talking about the flush. He was saying, it's amazing when I drink it in my black sludge. I need to do the sludge article, the detox sludge. He said, started doing it before bed last week with hot water bottles on the flush. So nice. Oh man, I flushed. So it's like low 90s, mid 90s here in Tucson during the midday now and afternoon. Oh, I'm going to say like flushing in the middle of that when you're all hot and then it's hot outside. Oh, that did not feel good to me. I was like, this kind of sucks. I don't know that I want to do this. Like be outside and do it. But I was flushing this morning when I took a shower and it was warm and that felt fine. So, okay. Okay. Fernando Espin asks, how long did it take you to detox a lot and work out a lot at the same time? I want to work out harder, but the detox is taking a lot of your bandwidth. This is absolutely true. This is absolutely true. Detox takes energy. There was a period of time where early in the detox, when I was probably pushing things really hard, I was probably doing too much lactoferrin and other stuff as I was figuring these things out. Where the only exercise I was doing for a while was my walks. Like I think I was getting, I was doing a half-hour walk a day, maybe an hour walk a day. And that was all I could do. And I had faith that I was going to get through it and that my exercise tolerance would return whenever I got this crap out of me. And it did. So you just gotta, as I've said before, like performance enhancing drugs, which are toxic, right? Performance enhancing drugs are not healthy. Nobody ever looks at steroid users and they're like, oh, they're going to live to be 120. No, that's not going to happen. So performance enhancing drugs, you got to think of this: performance versus health. Okay. Performance enhancing drugs ruin health. That's what they do. They increase your performance short term. They ruin your health long term. So while we're doing detox, right? Detox, what we're doing is meant to improve your health. But so if we have the opposite of performance enhancing drugs, if performance enhancing drugs enhance your performance, but they ruin your health, well, improving your health through like detox may reduce your performance for a while. Because you're using the energy to detox and you're, poison on the way in, poison on the way out. And you may be stirring up some toxicity in yourself that is taking a while to get out. I will tell you that when I flush with niacin, like I do not go to the gym. I do not plan on high performance output during the flush. I sometimes have taken my flush right before I go to the gym. Like I might still do the cardio and then the sauna. Because that's just walking on a treadmill or walking outside and then doing a sauna. That's like not high performance. But if I was going to the gym to lift, sometimes I took flush niacin. I kept insisting on taking the flush niacin and then going and exercising. And when I was lifting, sometimes I just leave the gym. I'd just be like, this sucks. I'm so like, bleh. And then a half hour later or an hour later, I'd be like, oh, I could go work out again. So I just learned that like I don't work out in the middle of a flush. Unless it's like easy stuff, like going for a walk or doing the cardio before the sauna, where the point is to do the cardio, not to like kick your own butt. So the biggest thing that people have to realize during the certain detox phases is that you're trying to find what you tolerate and not push too hard and use too much energy towards other stuff. You want to have that energy. The energy's your body's going to put the energy towards detox. And it'll just make your workouts kind of not so great. And then if you push too hard in your workouts, then you start dumping too much bile and then you really don't feel good. So it's, yeah. I can't say how long it's going to last. But try to find stuff. I mean, I'm going to tell you again, that flow rope is like, I swear that flow rope is going to be perfect for detox because it's mostly upper body and you're kind of just moving in place. You're moving your feet too, but it's really like not low impact, like weenie low impact. It's just low impact. You're not jumping around. I mean, you can get crazy with it if you want, but it's really good. I think it's very, very good for your brain connections, like your left and right hemispheres. And it's all these, circles and infinity patterns. And I think it's just really good for people. So don't hesitate. Go look up Tim's gym if you want to learn the stuff. I really like his stuff. And then I really, if you want to watch somebody who just cranks that stuff, then that's Nasima. You'll find him. If you type Nasima, Nsima rope, you'll find him. So, let me see what time we're at. Oh, okay. Here, Headwood was making a comment. I want to read these. Headwood was saying, Fernando, I was bedridden for nearly all of 2023. I began LYL in January 2024. It was a very slow process of patience and faith in the internal consistency of Garrett's theories and applications, and seeing things improve within myself little by little that took me from being able to do short walks. And then he's probably going to post another thing after that. That was the first one that Joe just posted. And then he said, from being able to do short walks to having recently hiked sections of the Appalachian Trail and regularly weight training. It's you kind of, okay, I'm just going to say it. Like I was kind of broken down, broken down from training hard, and the detox kind of broke me back down to just walking. And then, so for some of you who are really sick, you might just be doing the big six, the tapping. Perry Nicholson, look up Perry Nicholson, big six. You might just be doing the lymph tapping. There's another little lymph focused workout that somebody posted in the Love Your Liver program that's on YouTube. And then he said, and even just simply doing sprints, cartwheels, and other ways to readapt to the joy of play and freedom and movement. I think that's a big thing. Yeah, like finding stuff that is fun. I recently made my workout a lot more fun. I thought about the movement pattern idea of like hinge and squat and, push and pull, and kind of like Dan John, but I added a rotation component to it too. And I'm doing like a circuit of those, and I'm only doing one set per. So I have 6 movements, and I do 3 exercises of each movement pattern. So it's actually, and I only do one set of each one, but it's different. So I have 18 different exercises in there. So 6 different movement patterns, 18 different exercises. So 3 for each movement pattern. And then I just do one set of each. And I have been enjoying my workouts so much more, because call it my ADHD, whatever. I don't like doing multiple sets of stuff. And I'm making progress doing one set of things. I've always been like, ever since I probably got sick as a teenager from the ketoconazole killing my testosterone, I thrive on lower sets, low volume. I do really well on low volume. I don't know how that works, but I've never been able to do high volume stuff. It just wrecks me. So, but it's nice being able to do one set of things and make progress. So, but yeah, make sure what you're doing, that's a key thing. Make sure what you're doing for exercise is something you enjoy. Or it's like, it kind of, there was a saying in CrossFit where it doesn't have to be fun to be fun. Well, you can be doing stuff like the rope stuff is just like, you start doing it and you're like, wow, that's cool. That feels like, you feel it. And then you go, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then you get like, I just got a little goosebumps from it. Because I'm learning this underhand and overhand sneak. And when you start to get it, it starts to feel really cool. So yeah, find something that works for you and then build it back up. And then now I'm kind of like, I don't know that I've ever been doing this much training for so like 6 days a week, with the rope and the walking and the jogging happening every day, 7 days a week. And then 3 days of weight training and 3 days of like kind of intense strength stretching exercises that I'm doing. So it's a pretty rough. I think it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to kind of fully adapt to it. And all of a sudden I'm doing fine with it now. But I'll still, like, if there's a day where I'm like, I'm just going to walk today, I'm not going to do the weighted vest, I'm just going to walk, I'm just going to whatever, then do that. Listen to your body. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I will get back to, well, Headwood. Let me finish Headwood's FS. I will get to your stuff. Let me just read Headwood. Let me finish reading Headwood's stuff. Headwood is saying, this is all just to say, keep at it. Take it slow. Don't worry about FOMO as fear of missing out, or where other people might be at as far as their capacity to work out. And like Garrett says, with niacin and lactoferrin in particular, as in don't push those too hard. Yes, that's what they're meaning. He said you can time your ingestion of those to not coincide with working out, and they won't bog you down as much. He said this work has not only saved my life, but gave me the gift of being able to fully inhabit the experience of truly being alive. That's great. So FS was saying, may I ask for help, sir? I've been feeling like I'm on my period without being on my period. Terrible mood, perhaps recent solar flare stuff. I am known to detox max painfully, and my intellectual performance for university has plummeted. May I ask for directives? I'm 3 months in, but haven't gotten a consistent good mood. Okay. The first thing that we always think is, are you pushing detox too hard? The biggest things that we think of when you are early on, you're 3 months in, is too much soluble fiber, pushing fiber too hard. That is always the first thing we look at. If you're doing flush niacin or lactoferrin, which were just mentioned, those are the things that people will often kick their own ass with at the start. So those are the three things I would look at right away in terms of, are you doing too much of these? That would be soluble fiber, niacin, flush niacin, lactoferrin. Those are the things that are so easily overdone at the start. Next, the things that are the easiest to add to help with what you are feeling right now. Fixing your potassium intake. So make sure to watch the potassium video on this channel, and then fixing your topical magnesium intake. Those are the two biggest things. And then making sure you're getting enough water and enough salt. Those are the things that you can fix that will help your mood and your energy and your mental function the quickest. Like brain fog is a thyroid symptom often, right? It's related to thyroid, which is related to not enough potassium. So potassium is always really, really important. You might, if you're having some stuff with that period, you might look into L-theanine. L-theanine being an amino acid that is, they say it's derived from green tea. I don't know exactly where they source the larger amounts from, but L-theanine at doses of, you can experiment. I like the, what did I get? The bulksupplements.com. And you can experiment with up to 1 gram a day of it. And if you're having copper dumping type symptoms that are causing, period symptoms without a period, that's probably copper, and theanine might help with those symptoms. I have a whole article in the Love Your Liver program about female hormonal and menstrual issues and things that you should look at and things to do to help it. So, I mean, that's a whole separate article just on women's issues. So, your tinnitus getting way louder. Okay. I'm going to talk about the tinnitus for a second. But those are the things you could take away or reduce, and then things you could add. Has there been some space weather lately? Yeah, there was an X flare just like the other day. Okay, and let me add this. Those of you who want to talk in the comments in the chat here or in the comments later when you see this, it is May 27th, 2025. I'm going to tell you that there has been some super strong detox, whatever energy has been going on for like a week and a half. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to tell you some of the weird things that happened to me. Like, so I've talked a lot about me detoxing out my ears, like earwax and that stuff. And I have kind of a thing about my ears. Like, I like my ears to be clean. It's, everybody's got their own weird thing. My thing is like my ears. And I'd been having this kind of detox stuff. One day I looked down on my abdomen, and right above on my rib cage above my liver, I had a pimple, like a legitimate whitehead pimple. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't get them on my face anymore. And I got one on my abdomen. I was like, okay, that's weird. Kelsey had been having lots of, I think she had, her cycle got weird. And then she was having some other like mental, emotional stuff coming up a lot. And I was going, okay, there's something weird going on. And then I'm like cleaning my ears, and behind my ears, all of a sudden I was like, there was like a lot of stuff. You know how they say kids, they need to clean behind their ears. I clean behind my ears all the time. And all of a sudden I'm like, there is a ton of gunk back there. And there was a ton of stuff in my ears for what, for what can come up in a day or two. So there was something really weird like that was pushing detox for a lot of people like this last week and a half. So if any of you guys had that, you were like, why is this flaring up? Why do I seem to have stuff coming out of me that doesn't normally come out of you? That happened. So there was some space weather. There wasn't a ton of it, but they also seem to be messing around with those NextRad stations, the HARP type stuff. There's people on Twitter who keep track of that, and you see them. They're like cranking these towers. I think it's too. I don't know. Why might they be cranking towers up? I don't know. I've been hearing about new viruses and other things that might be coming up, and I wonder where they're coming from. The tinnitus when space weather kicks up, or when I'm dumping a lot of bile, or when space weather kicks up, I normally don't have tinnitus, but if it kicks up, I hear it and I go, oh, and it's kind of actually in a certain way comforting for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't feel good right now because whatever happened is kicking up, and okay, the tinnitus goes away. It's really weird to have. So though some of you may notice this, you have tinnitus when you're not feeling good, and then it goes away when you feel better. And then it's like, well, okay, so how would modern medicine explain that? They have nothing. We have toxic bile paradigm. That makes sense. So, Lily said the space weather has been super rough lately. I've been having all sorts of random symptoms. Yes. Let's see. Matei says, what is hearing music all the time? Well, that might just be boredom. No, but yeah, things are going to get weird. Anna P said she was agreeing with Lily saying about the weird random symptoms. Yes. So this has been going on. So like I said, it's May 27th. So like the week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before this, if you got a cold or a flu, or you've had weird stuff, ladies, with your cycle, or like I said, I had that weird pimple on my abdomen. I was like, that's where I kind of went, oh, there's some detox stuff going on. Like, I mean, it's over my liver. I don't know. Oh, FS says, my goodness, may I share? I feel a ton of resonance. Sure, go ahead, share. While you're doing that, Fernando said, LOL, no wonder why I had to shut down my niacin flush with vitamin C the other day. The 140 milligram felt way worse. Yeah, when there's a lot of space weather or stuff going on and you flush, it can be more intense, or you could dump more bile. And niacin really, I'm just going to repeat this concept again. Okay. As we get less toxic, as your liver is getting less toxic, it will start. So when you get really toxic, your liver tends to start making less bile, you're making less, and it's getting more toxic, like more concentrated. Okay. So when you dump it, you feel bad. Okay. You feel really bad. As you get less toxic, your liver starts making more bile because it wants to get rid of all this toxicity. So your liver starts making more bile. It is less toxic. However, you're dumping more, and your liver can kind of get excited, is the idea I do. And it starts dumping a lot of bile. And so if you start taking niacin, let's say, or lactoferrin has research on it. I've shown it showing it speeds up ALDH. Niacin speeds up ALDH. These things help you detox more, but that also means they increase your bile dumping. So you just got to be careful with especially niacin and lactoferrin. I mean, but anything. I think zinc increases bile production too. That's why zinc can give you an upset stomach, nausea, if you take it on an empty stomach, because I think the zinc itself induces kind of a bile dump, but it tends to go up into the stomach. So, yeah, so you just got to know that if you overdo things and too many changes at once and you can't track them, then you can start, as you're getting healthier, you're going to dump more bile. That's just how it goes. So as the saying goes, if you lean into that too much, you can make yourself feel not so good. The good news about pushing detox too hard is almost always when you come out on the other side, you feel better than you did before. So all this space weather, detox, whatever, you'll probably, once this all calms down, you're going to feel better on the other side. And that's the other thing that you need to know is when this, what was it? Where I lost that train of thought. Anyway. Oh, when the space weather happens, if you don't believe in space weather, which some people don't, they're like, I just don't believe that this happens. And I go, okay, cool, whatever. When you feel bad for no reason and you can't figure out why, then you can just struggle with that, I guess. So when it happens, you may have to calm down on things during it. So you don't, because if the space weather is causing you to dump a bunch of bile and you're taking a bunch of things that are increasing your bile production, and it's kind of like a synergistic ass kicking, you want to know, you can only control so many things. Let the space weather happen. Let me not aggravate it or irritate it by doing too much of other things. So, okay. Anna was saying, anyway, as she was adding, my eczema has been improving using the salve, the zinc niacin salve. So yes, that's great. So just remember, if you flush from the niacin salve, you may be red for a couple days. It's not an allergic reaction. You don't have to do anything. And I think a little bit of oral niacin will help. Where were we? I think that's, yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. It's 12:11. So let's go through all those links, Joe. Hope you all enjoyed the show. For those of you who are interested in finding out more from us or working with us or trying out supplements, that can all be found at nutritiondetective.com. That's where you can find our health facilitators who do the testing. We do the hair testing and the blood testing and the consult and the 6 months of support. So you want to go and check out those packages. We have our as clean as I can make them supplements there. And that's where you have the zinc, niacin, salve we talked about is there. And then there's also the Love Your Liver program, which is the do-it-yourself program. All testing and consultation package people who buy a package with a facilitator get access to the Love Your Liver program. Otherwise, it's a one-time fee, lifetime membership to the Love Your Liver program. It's a do-it-yourself thing. There's a whole community in there. You can find that at members.nutritiondetective.com or under the membership link on our main website. That will take you to that. And then otherwise, we are on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. I don't do much there. I'm definitely all over Twitter at NutriDetect. That's my handle on Twitter. Obviously, we're here on YouTube. We do have a Rumble channel. So if you wanted to go see episode 198, it is on Rumble. If you want to go see it, it will be there. It is there. And then, and make sure to watch 199 too. That's the Pokey episode. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, past live streams are down there. This was 200 episodes. So if you aren't aware, this is 200 episodes in a row. Oh, and let me thank Beth again for hosting us here on her channel. I hope I was careful enough to not trigger any Gestapo activities. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I was pretty careful. And then, Joe's posting some of the best episodes, like the episodes 71 and 53, the toxic bile paradigm stuff, where you can learn about when we're talking about bile and all that and how it works and what we're trying to do. That's all there. So I think that's about it. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope we got some good concepts and questions answered. Those of you who have been here a lot. Oh, the vitiligo study. Yeah. So I say these things over and over because we have new people, and revisiting the foundational concepts is always very, very important. Like, it's just like when you're learning a sport, right? The fundamentals. We have to bring people constantly back to the fundamentals because that is the basis of what we're doing. Everybody wants to do like the advanced stuff, and we're like, fix the fundamentals. fix the fundamentals. Like, don't go too fast. Don't go too hard. Get these things, do like, just like I was talking about, like with the soluble fiber, the niacin and lactoferrin, don't do too much of those. And then make sure you're getting your potassium and your magnesium. Those are the things that can help you the quickest, that tend to have the least issues. Oh, the other thing about like the detox thing, all of a sudden my daughter the other day, the like detox thing over the last couple of weeks, my daughter, I hadn't heard anything about menstrual cramps from her for a long time. And all of a sudden she calls me and she's like kind of sobbing from her girlfriend's house. And, Dad, I'm having cramps. And I'm like, this girl does her magnesium and she eats good. And she's like, takes her keystone minerals. And I'm like, this is weird. And she's, what can I do, Dad? And she wasn't at her house. She wasn't at my house. She wasn't at the ex's house. And I just said, about the only thing you can really do, I guess, there is take a warm bath. And she did. And then she said the bath fixed it. So that's one of the other things, folks, is as you are less toxic, you can do little things and it will often give you a lot of relief if you do the right thing. So, but that was another thing where I was like, this is not normal. So we were just talking about random symptoms or things flaring up. So that was just another example where I went, okay, now I got me, I got Kelsey, I got my daughter. I've been hearing about it from other people in office hours. So there was definitely some weird stuff going on for the last couple of weeks. So if you're listening to this episode later, you're probably not going to be able to correlate this period of time with anything unless you are. But yeah, hopefully it helps you figure out if there's things going on. If you see all of a sudden multiple people getting sick or having weird symptoms and they're complaining about it, then you can go, oh, this matches up. I've been having some weird stuff too. And then the nice thing is at least you're not alone and you're not like going crazy. There's actually stuff going on. So, okay. I will see you all next week. Hopefully we'll be back on our channel. I just got a week of jail. And thanks again to Beth for hosting, and we will see you all next time. Bye now.